Welcome in, Bills fans, to another episode of the Triple Coverage Podcast. My name is Lance Nelson, the president of Built in Buffalo. To my left, Scott Casson. To my right, Benjamin Shoop. It's rivalry week, not only in Buffalo. The Yankees play the Red Sox tonight for Game 3 of the wild card. Let's start off with that. Ben, who you got tonight? Sup, Shoop?
Well, I mean, I got to go with my team. I got to go with the Boston Red Sox.
Boo!
I'm shocked that they're actually, like, with the injuries they've had the past, month or so, and just all the younger guys that you had playing this year and some of the guys struggling early. And I'm shocked they're here. So I'm going to enjoy it. And I think it'll be hilarious if this World Series bound New York Yankees that everybody thinks is World Series bound loses to the Boston Red Sox, who a lot of people did not have making the playoffs before the season started. I just think it'll be funny. So I don't. If you asked me if I was going to bet on the Red Sox tonight, no, just because again the Yankees should win, but we know how baseball works, and it's not always the team that should win winning. So first two games have been good, so I hope this one's at least a good one, and it's not like a blowout for the Yankees. But I'll take a blowout for the Red Sox, I guess.
I would say after some of the injuries the Yankees had, they haven't necessarily been World Series bound all season either. They lost Garrett Cole, who's a top 5 pitcher in baseball. They lost Clark Schmidt, who has, I think, the second lowest ERA in the last season and a half. And both teams are starting a rookie tonight. So say what you will about the woe is me Red Sox, who are actually a pretty solid team on paper and spend quite a bit of money on their payroll and brought in Alex Bregman and traded Rafael Devers, which was maybe addition by subtraction, and paid a lot of money for Trevor Story. Like Aroldis Chapman, who's probably the best closer in baseball again, looking like it's 2016 out there. Like I think it should be a good game tonight. I think the Yankees pull it off, but it's funny that both the guys starting tonight both started the year in Double-A. Schlittler came up in July, and Early came up later in September, only throwing 19 big league innings. Pretty much going to be whichever one of these young guys can give more depth, because the Red Sox bullpen is pretty shot. The Yankees is pretty fresh, but I don't trust it at all. So whichever one of those guys can give you 5 solid innings is going to make the difference.
Amazing. That's going to be the Yankees. All right, on to football here. We digress for just a few moments, but rivalry week here at Highmark Stadium. It's going to be a whiteout, so make sure you wear your white jerseys or hats, and even pants if you have them. But hi, Mom. Let's get into it. What did you think about the Saints game, guys? I'm just going to go first and say simply, when they needed to, they did. When the defense needed to make the key stop, they did. When the offense needed to score, they did. They won the game, and that's going to be the theme throughout this entire season. Shoop, we'll start with you. What do you got for a quick reaction to the Saints game?
I'm actually going to, just because I don't know what Scott's going to say, I'm going to let Scott go because I have 2 things, and I don't want to take one of Scott's if I do end up saying them. So I'm going to have Scott go first.
I don't know what you're going to say. So
go ahead. I got 2 things.
Biggest takeaway was you could kind of tell the team didn't necessarily get all the way up for this one. It's a home game sandwiched between 2 big divisional games, 2 primetime games. You got maybe the worst team in the league, the Saints, coming in. And McDermott kind of even alluded at it during the week, saying, we need the fans this week. They got to be loud. You got to get fired up. And it's like, you normally say that before big playoff games or, big game, not necessarily games where you're 17-point favorites. So it was a little trap gamey. And you could tell the game plan was very basic, which it has been all year, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So they were kind of flat. But like Lance said, they got it done when they needed to. Got a little shaky late in the second half with the Saints almost taking the lead at one point. But when they needed to, they got stops. When they needed to, Cole Bishop got that pick. The offense scored pretty much when they wanted to. Got slowed down a little bit in the middle of the game. But I don't think we've seen what this offense is going to be yet. I know we haven't seen what this defense is going to be yet. So my biggest takeaway is they came out a little flat, but they're still good enough to get it done, and I'm not sure they can get away with that later in the year, but in week 4 and 17-point favorites, they can.
Yeah.
They're not going to need to get away with that later in the year. They're going to have different game plans and different folks are going to be asked to do different things against better
Well,
opponents.
that doesn't affect coming flat. Like game plan doesn't matter if the team's flat or not.
Yeah. That was going to be one thing, a little bit to what you said, Scott, of just like even maybe not the flatness, but the game plan. It's very obvious that early on they're going to stick to their game plans. They're not going to open up their bag of tricks, especially offensively. They're going to stick with it. I mean, even when Lance and I went and heard Connor McGovern being interviewed, Connor McGovern even talked about like this early. They're kind of keeping it vanilla. They're not really going crazy with the offensive game plan right now. So yeah, I mean,
that was on the Buffalo Under the Helmet podcast, which you can check out on their YouTube channel, Buffalo Under the Helmet. They're so gracious to have us as guests. We'll be there again for another taping coming up this week. So we do appreciate those guys. If you haven't done so yet, you want to hear Connor McGovern's episode, go check that out on Buffalo Under the Helmet.
Yeah. So they're sticking with their game plan. I know people want it to be how was the Jets game where you're up 30-3, 30-0. Like you're just taking care of business. But again, it's the NFL. Both teams are going to come out firing. Saints came out and they wanted to prove something. And they proved that, they may be a bad team, but they are at least a team. Yeah, you can't just come out flat against. So, the Bills definitely could have played better. But again, it was September. I'm not going to overreact to a September game. Teams struggle. Like we said, we've seen it with other teams. You saw Carolina shut out Atlanta 2 weeks ago. Like you said, the Cleveland Browns winning against Green Bay. Like teams are still kind of trying things out. Some teams are coming out flat, but
somebody here needs to overreact.
My major takeaway, though, I'll say, is maybe a little bit of an overreaction, is that the run defense needs to figure it out. The Saints, we talked about going into the game, they were a pass-heavy team. And this game against the Bills, they ran the ball more times than they threw it for the first time all season. And they were pretty successful for, being a team that, again, is not exactly the greatest team in the world. So, definitely run defense is going to have to get better. But I do think, I guess, I don't want to hear the main reason I said it might be a little bit of a reaction is because you do have guys coming back. You have Ogunjobi coming back, Hoyt coming back. Again, you still have rookies that are learning the game on the defensive line. Milano's coming back. So as much as I want to say, they do need to be better, I believe they will get better as the season goes on. So I'm not going to say that it's a panic time yet, but when you have a team like the Saints kind of completely change their game plans from the first 3 weeks against you, and they have some success, that's maybe a little bit of concern, at least in the next few weeks.
Yeah, the team had 8 missed tackles, but all 8 of them were actually veterans. You had Bosa with 3, Bernard, App Johnson, White, and Daquan Jones all with 1. So definitely understand the young people, but the veteran guys were ones missing tackles and sort of contributing to the shitty run defense, pardon my language, but that's just what it was, just not good overall. All right, this week's 7-1 Slicker of the Week. What do you guys think about AJ Epenesa's performance there? He had a sack, played really well in the run game. Guys, just mentioned a little bit about what you think about AJ Epinesa in this Saints game. Scott, you want to start?
Yeah, it was his best game of the season so far, which is much needed. AJ is a guy who gets a lot of criticism for not being he was a second-round pick. It's not like they took him super early, and he's a consistent rotational D end. I think people want him to be a 10-sack-a-year guy, but that's never going to be him. There are definitely games where he disappears, but from a rotational guy, you're going to have those. But it was good for him to get a sack. Hopefully that gets him some momentum going forward, and we can get some kind of a pass rush going, because outside of Joey Bosa, there hasn't been a whole lot. So, yeah, good for AJ Epinesa. Definitely his best game of the year, and hopefully that gets him some confidence going down the road.
Yeah, I think it's funny that we actually talked about it in our chat before the game that week against the Saints about how AJ Epinesa gets a little bit more hate than maybe he deserves. Like you said, Scott, he's a good rotational guy. He's not getting paid a ton of money. He's for a second round pick, maybe you do want a little bit more, but he's a guy that you're never. It's very rare that I'm like very after a game, I'm very upset with how he played. Yeah, maybe I say, oh, he can play better, but it's very rare that he has a horrible game to the point where you're like, man, this guy should not be seeing the field. He is a good rotational piece, and I think sometimes he gets a little bit too much hate. In this game, he had a good game against the Saints. You say what you want about whatever team it was against, but he showed up. And when people are talking about how other players didn't show up this game, Adrian Epinesa did show up, and maybe it was one of the biggest reasons that the defense did what they did, and only allowed 19 points. But yeah, Adrian Epinesa, I think it's a little too much hate. Especially considering what his salary is and what his role is on this team. I think he does what he needs to do.
Yeah, pretty good win percentage, 20%, sack, three total tackles there, 2 hurries. So did some good things overall in this game, and also was solid in the run game, which, Scott and I talked a little bit about selecting Joey Bosa in this 7-1 Slicker of the Week honor again. We already had him once, and I just didn't think he performed well enough with those 3 missed tackles in the run game to get the honor. So we went AJ Epinesa, good overall game, both sides running and passing, and I thought that it was warranted to give him the 7-1 Slicker of the Week, presented by 7-1 Slicks Barbershop, Depew, New York, Broadway Road. Go see Dennis and Matt. You can book on The Cut using this here QR code. If you're able to take a screenshot here and scan this QR code, you can book your haircut now. I'm going to go see him on Saturday, so excited to get all my hairs cut by Dennis. Moving on now, I think we're going to roll into a little review of the first quarter of the season. Scott, you want to start us off here with offense or defense, your choice, and give us something that you've seen from one side of the ball or the other in the first quarter of the season?
Sure. We'll start with the offense, just because it's been a bit more exciting than the defense, I would say. And like we alluded to earlier, it's been a very basic offense so far. Against the Ravens, they had a little bit more creativity, but they had to in that game. And the other games they really haven't had to yet. I'm wondering if we see it ramped up a little bit more this week against the Patriots. But you see a lot of people online talking about kind of like not enough aggressive play calling, not taking enough shots downfield, and like looking for more out of this offense. But like my point is, they haven't hit their stride yet. They haven't like really taken for lack of a better term, the handcuffs off of this offense, and they're still second overall in total yards, 1 yard behind the Dallas Cowboys, who've been in some shootouts of games where they've needed to move the ball. They're first in rush offense. James Cook, I think, is second in total rushing yards in the NFL, 6th in passing, and the Bills have been in some games where they just haven't passed the ball at all in the second half because they are winning by so much, like they were against the Jets, and they're second in scoring. They're still the only team in the league to score 30 points in every game. So I don't really know what more people want. Talked about it before of not like the lack of downfield shots. And I think that's just as much it is Josh Allen maturing as it is anything else, because they've called them, and if they're not there, Josh Allen doesn't throw them, and he wins the play instead of trying to win the whole game in one play, which is maturity. So as the season goes on, they're going to get more aggressive. I know people hate the third or second down screens to Kincaid or someone out wide, but look, they ran a screen to Shakir this week and he took it 43 yards. So those plays are going to work. They might not work every time, but yeah, it's been basic, and when it needs to be, it won't be, and none of that stuff will be on film yet, and teams won't necessarily know how to defend us when it matters. So I think this offense is in a great spot. All things being considered, I think Josh Allen's playing better this year than he was last year. James Cook looks the best he's ever been, and we have a diverse group of receivers and tight ends who can do a lot of different things. So I'm really excited about where they are. Hopefully some big things to come.
I think the people want the Bills not to punt ever on against some of these lower, what they perceive as, lower teams, and they want sort of that score, at least a field goal on every play, on every drive, that sort of thing. And I just don't see the need. And Ben, go ahead, and then I'll give my reason why.
Yeah. I mean, for me, just the offense, my number one thing is I'm a little bit shocked in how much they've leaned on the run game. I think part of that is just it's again, you're playing some teams that you maybe want to control the time of possession, you want to control the game, and they're keeping it vanilla, so they're going to lean on James Cook. I do kind of, I've seen people talking about, can James Cook continue this level of not production, but just the amount of touches that he's getting per game? Is that something that they should maybe try to ramp down a little bit? I mean, he had 13 carries. Was the one game where he touched the ball at least was that Ravens game, where he had 21, 19, 22 carries. And can he keep that up as a guy who in college has never been a workhorse, in the NFL has never been a workhorse? I know you paid him, but you want him healthy and ready to go with as much on the tires as possible when you get to the playoffs. So I will see. I'm interested to see kind of how they handle that, because as the season goes on, because you haven't seen too much of Ray Davis, you haven't seen really anything of Ty Johnson. But yeah, that's the only thing I'll say is I'm interested to see how they handle James Cook as the season goes on.
So I do have a stat
Buffalo,
for that.
Not a workhorse.
A stat for that before we get into it. So he's right now, it's from our guy Yards Per Pass on Twitter. Fun fact, my friend Brian, he was his professor in college. There you go.
Brian was Yards Per Pass's professor, or Yards Per Pass was Brian's professor?
Yards Per Pass was Brian's professor.
Amazing.
There you go. So anyway, he's on pace for 328 touches this season. His previous high was 281. So what's that? My quick math. He was not my professor. So roughly 60 or so touches. That's not like a crazy amount. Like I wouldn't say that they're like at risk of running him into the ground. I think he's just by far making the most of his touches this year. And I know Joe Brady said this week they want to get Ray Davis, Ty Johnson more into it, but it's not like they've been giving him the ball a ton. He's just doing so much with what he's getting.
Yeah, he's really incredible. I think that we talked a lot about it leading up to the season to see, where he was salary-wise and where he was going to be usage-wise. I think he's right where we sort of pegged him throughout the first quarter of the season in usage, and he's earned every penny of the extension so far, and made us realize what why he is special, why he was wanting that money, and why the Bills gave it to him, really. So Bills are 6th overall in total DVOA, 1st overall in EPA per play on offense. My take is they've done enough, while admittedly keeping things vanilla. Like Ben mentioned, Connor McGovern on the Buffalo Under the Helmet podcast presented by Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center said that, they're not showing a bunch of stuff, and maybe it's handcuffs like Scott mentioned. Maybe they just have a plan going in that they don't really need to do a lot to beat these teams. They're better. They have more skill, and they can just use that to win with base formations, base plays, concepts, and they don't need to really do much more than that at this time, and it's working. Yes, it's not flashy. We're not bulldozing people 48-0 by any means, but what do we really need to? I don't know that we really need to, because we're undefeated, and that's the whole goal. Get as many wins as possible so you can get into the playoffs, and that's when you're wanting to play your best football. So I'm not worried about not clicking on all cylinders on any phase of the game, and we'll talk about that more when we get into defense for sure. But this offense has done just fine. When they needed to, they've done it. And, against Baltimore, they came back there and roared back. They definitely had some things up their sleeve there, and it was effective. So when you have 17 at quarterback for you, I think that you don't necessarily need to do too much. And like Scott said, he's maturing and just taking what's given to him within the confines of the offense. He doesn't really need to do more than what's given to him at any given play. So you see the first interception last week against the Saints, and sort of threw it up for grabs there, but I almost had a second one that he didn't necessarily throw it for grabs, just a bad throw overall. But, he's played clean. I think that the Bills offense is playing it smart, and they're going to ride the run game as much as they can, and some of these shorter passes and things like that. And they'll take a couple shots to Keon on the outside and just kind of roll with that. And I think that the main goal is 1-0 every week. And I know that Joe Brady says that every week. that's just it. Just is what it is. It's not to dominate your opponent by 30 points every week.
I do also think, like, again, to Scott's point of how much more do you want from the offense? Like, please, like, some people I think do need to go watch other games and see other offenses and understand, like, this is as pretty much as good as you can get in the NFL. Like, I know we've kind of gotten a little spoiled with how this offense has been the past few years, I think. And yeah, like Lance, like you said, Lance, a lot of people I don't think ever want to see the punter, which would be amazing, but it's just, you're not going to have perfect drives all the time. And the Bills, like you said, are trying things out, seeing what's going to work, what's not going to work. They're keeping it vanilla on top of that. So yeah, I do think next time you kind of get really mad at the Bills offense, if they go 2 straight drives without scoring, go watch some other teams, go watch some other offenses, and then you might be a little bit grateful about what we have, because
Right.
yeah, it's
30 points a game, basically. If you get mad, just go and watch or go look at the scoreboard. Maybe the Bills will probably be winning. Go look at the record. The Bills are undefeated, and just realize that this team is going to be just fine down the stretch. And when we need them to be, they're saving plenty for that. And I know it's not sexy, but it is effective, and they've proven that it's effective. I know they haven't necessarily gotten to the Super Bowl, and that's everyone's claim, but it's one drive away with 3 minutes left last year from getting there. And if they're in that position again this year, I'd gladly take that. All right, defensively, what do you think? Ben, you want to go first on the defense?
Yeah, the defense is kind of an interesting. I think, like, the offense, yeah, there's kind of the main points, but the defense, there's a million different things you can kind of talk about. Yeah, some people are saying the defense has been, really underwhelming, and others are just saying, well, just wait. And so I'm more taking the, like, I'm not going to make a rational judgment, really, or like a crazy judgment until it's week 9, 10, 11. When you do have everybody back and you do kind of see some of these rookies with more playing time, because, you're missing Ed Oliver, you're missing Matt Milano, you're missing Ogunjobi, you're missing Hoyt, you're missing Max Harrison, who obviously we don't know what he's going to look like, but you're missing a lot of these guys. You still even have young guys that are playing and learning the game. Dorian Strong's learning the game. You have, obviously Sanders and Walker learning the game. Even Cole Bishop is still learning the game, and I think everybody's kind of somewhat forgetting that. So, yes, defense does have room to improve. I will say, though, the big thing that you people are getting frustrated at is third down. So at least they're getting them to third down. Now you just have to finish off the drives, right? You have to get them fully off the field. So it's not like they're just allowing 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards. Like, they are getting to third down, and you just really have to clean up. What are you going to do on third down? Is that Bobby Babich more? Is that the players? Is it just a combination of both getting on the same page with how they want to play third down? So, yes, they have things to work on. They need to be better. I just mentioned the run defense. It needs to be better. But we'll see as time goes on, as guys come back, Ed Oliver comes back, what happens. I do think the pass rush has been, even though it hasn't been top of the world, I do think they are getting pressure. It's just sometimes they struggle with gap integrity and allow guys to get out of the pocket. So, yeah, I just think the defense, yeah, you can be wanting more and wanting better, but I think it's still too early to be pressing the panic button right now on this team, just with all of the changes and kind of just new guys that are needing to step up, at least right now. So I'm gonna wait to say that it's gonna be bad once it gets to playoffs.
Yeah, the defense is still kind of in a wait and see mode. We're getting back 5 guys who are going to be big time rotation players, if not starters, in the next few weeks. So I think we can really judge this defense come November, December. But based on what we've seen so far, like you said earlier, Ben, the run defense just hasn't been good enough. I've always been of the thought process that I don't care if you can run the ball when you're down by 2 or 3 scores. It takes it out of the game completely. So I'm not necessarily as worried about that, because like the offense can help take care of that a lot. Pass defense, number 1 in the league. You can take that at face value, or you can go look at the quarterbacks that they played and make kind of a judgment off of that. I think we've seen some good things from some people. I think Cole Bishop has been pretty solid. A lot of people were worried about him, forgetting
Jordan
that he
Poirier
started
told y'all.
Well, I think our eyes
He
told
told
us
me.
last year. The guy started in the AFC Championship game, and people were acting like he hasn't played football in his life. Like, the guy was going to be just fine. Benford, I think, has to figure it out a little bit, but he has been in a different position this year where he's going against the number one wide receiver a lot more. Him and Rasul were pretty interchangeable last season. Before that with a younger Trey White, he wasn't necessarily – he was the number one corner, but it wasn't like he's your number one lockdown guy. So, like, to see him clean things up a little bit. Joey Bosa, I think, has been great. He's been healthy so far. Hopefully that stays, and I think we're getting just what you can ask for out of him. Like to see an improvement on the pass rush overall, but we're not going to see this full defense until everybody gets back and healthy, and that could be a little while. So have some things to clean up, and I wouldn't say the defense is the strength of the team, but they're middle of the pack in just about everything. And for a team that's missing 4 or 5 starters, it's not a terrible place to be.
And before you go, Lance, sorry, and to Scott's point, like, they're middle of the pack right now, but if they get even just 50% better, or even 25% better on third downs, that will push the defense to borderline top 12, 10, right? Like, it's some little things that they can fix. And like you said, with guys coming back, Ed Oliver looked phenomenal against the Ravens. If he comes back and could be that as good as he looked like he could be this year, that could be one of the biggest keys. But sorry, Lance, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. You talk Ed Oliver, you got Michael Hoyt, and you got Matt Milano. The biggest thing is getting pressure on the quarterback here. It's not great right now. 9 sacks, or 19th in the league, 24th in QB pressures, although in QB pressure percentage, they're 12th. So a little bit misleading there just about the number of maybe opportunities or whatnot. But I think that you add Michael Hoyt and Ed Oliver back to the defensive line, and then Matt Milano with the way he can blitz at times, or the way he can stay back in coverage so Bernard can blitz at times if that's what they choose to do. I think that you have really a lot of room for improvement in that regard. So I think that makes the defense a whole lot better once they start getting the pressures that they're used to and that they're going to get when Hoyt especially joins this rotation. I think that's going to be a big uptick that you'll see with the defense. So the first quarter hasn't been great as far as getting sacks and pressuring the QB a ton, but help is on the way. So I don't know if you guys touched too much on third down efficiency. There was a lot to take in there, and I wasn't necessarily taking notes on everything you said, but third down efficiency definitely is a big improvement. But I think the pressure on the QB can help that a ton. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I think that I'm glad these guys are getting the reps they're getting throughout the first quarter of the season, especially the young guys. Valuable game reps while the Bills are still winning games. I think you have to have that as a notch in your belt when you're the coaching staff, that you can really develop these guys on the fly like this with real game reps. So, what do you think about as far as that goes? Anything more to add on the defense through the first quarter?
Just be patient. Yeah. Wait till week 9, 10, 11 to really start panicking, if you are panicking.
I'm excited for that Chiefs game, I think, when we should hopefully, knock on wood, if we're full tilt, going up against hopefully what is the litmus test of the season there. So, James Cook, Offensive Player of the Month. Thurman Thomas, the only other Bills running back to win that award. What do you guys think of that? Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, awesome for him. Well-deserved. I'm pretty sure the year Thurman won that award, he also won the MVP. Not sure James Cook has that kind of a season in him, but really, really good for him. Well-deserved. A guy who, like you said, got paid. And a lot of people, including myself, are usually not in the camp of pay the running back, but so far he's making it worth it.
Yeah. You used to seeing, we're looking for Josh Allen to win this type of award. It's nice to see another Bill on the offensive side win this award here. Hopefully he can keep it up and maybe win one more or something, or maybe get in that conversation of what Thurman was in. Obviously, it's a different time now where running backs to be in the MVP is very tough to be in that conversation. But if he keeps it up, maybe he ends up at least being considered for it, along with maybe Josh. So, he's been phenomenal. Proved a lot of people wrong, me being maybe one of them as well. Just I didn't think he'd be this level of what he's playing at right now. He has been phenomenal. So congratulations to James Cook.
Yeah, he's making me look really good in fantasy football, if that matters to anybody, which I know it doesn't, especially Mr. Scott here. He loves talking about fantasy football, but I do like that Cook has paid off in that regard and that he's, towards the top of the league in almost every stat category. So we'll see if his trajectory continues in that and if he could finish the season out in the top 3 or 5 running backs in most statistical categories. That's what I'm looking for this year out of James, and it looks like he's going to deliver, in my opinion. New punter,
having a good running back shouldn't affect your quarterback's MVP conversation. Am I doing it right?
Right. He's still the MVP, right?
It's a good thing it's not Ravens.
Am I doing that right?
Or else we'd have some comments coming in right now.
Amazing. Mitch Wishnowski is our new punter after Cam got his leg destroyed on that penalty. What do you guys think of Mitch Wishnowski joining the Bills as the punter? Do we really care who punts the ball? I know we mentioned earlier not a lot of people want to even see the punter on the field, so let's see how this guy does. I don't think it's going to matter too much, but what do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like finding a punter is the hardest thing right now for this team to do. Not only keep one healthy and whatever, but also find one that can do it consistently well. Maybe Wishnowski is the guy, and he comes in and he really punts the ball well. Hopefully, again, we don't have to see it a lot. Hopefully it's something that is never a major issue. If we see him once or twice, but if he does see him once or twice, like a game, hopefully they're good. So definitely interesting. Another Australian punter, second in a row, but neither of them, obviously, because it's the NFL, are doing the Australian style of punting. It usually stays in college with these guys, because in the NFL, I believe every one of them would probably get blocked in the NFL if you are punting Australian style. Interested to see what he's got.
He has a great nickname, the Boomin' Onion. Good one.
I did not know that, so thank you. That's one of my favorite nicknames I've heard.
Yeah, he has this punt they call the helicopter punt, which is really hard to catch. It doesn't spiral. It kind of goes like a helicopter. And he's forced quite a few muffed punts and fumbles. So maybe we can get one or two of those and flip the field for us. So, yeah, helicopter punt and the Boomin' Onion.
All right, I think we're all big Muff fans here, so definitely should enjoy that if he can force a few of those. Injury reports out here on a Thursday. We got 2 practices under the belt. Joey Bosa was limited with some vet rest yesterday, but full today. Spencer Brown, calf, limited both days. Jackson Hawes popped up with an ankle, limited both days. Matt Milano with a pec, limited both days. We'll see if he's trending towards playing when we get the report more tomorrow. Ed Oliver on the ankle there. Didn't look super great yesterday on the videos I saw. I didn't see too many today, so I'm not sure what the update is on that, if there is one, but Scott knows because he knows everything. And TJ Sanders popped up with a knee limited today. Dorian Strong was looking down at an iPad so long studying Stephon Diggs that his neck is sore today, so I just made that up. But Dorian Strong with a neck did not practice today, and Dorian Williams, 2 straight DNPs. Scott, take us wherever you'd like. What do you think about the injury report? Any concerns necessarily going into the Patriots game?
No major concerns. I would imagine Spencer Brown comes back this week. I also would guess, just based on the way he looked, Matt Milano comes back this week. But with an upper body injury, it's tougher to tell because he's going to move just fine. It's just a matter of how that pec handles tackling and reaching and like getting off of blocks. Ed Oliver, probably not. He didn't look super like comfortable pushing off of that ankle, that foot. His lateral movement still a work in progress. You gotta imagine Dorian doesn't play, so hopefully Milano does. But Shaq Thompson's been awesome, so maybe he'll be out there. And then also, as far as the guys on IR go, none of their 21-day windows were open. So they're holding off for that. And if I had to guess, they're probably going to do that after the bye week for guys, at least for Maxwell Harrison, because if you do it before the bye week, you'll lose a whole week of practice, and he needs that. And then Grable, I don't think they're rushing him along. Continue to cheat the roster system a little bit. And then for Tyler Bass, if Prater's making kicks, maybe it just stays as it is.
Well, I'm hoping that we don't see any more ducks that come off his leg, like the one against Miami. But other than that, yeah, he's been phenomenal. But still, I was at the game, thought that was blocked. I thought it was something happened, and then I saw I texted a bunch of buddies, was like, "Did that get touched at all?" And they were like, "No, that was just a straight shank."
I thought you only texted me.
Well, I try to only text you, but sometimes it's not easy being this popular. No, but yeah, when it comes to the injuries, I'm hoping Jackson Hawes can play. Limited 2 days. That kind of sounds like maybe he can turn a corner tomorrow and get a full practice in. But yeah, none of them really stand out or concern to me. I guess actually the one that does kind of, it's not even a Bills injury that's interested in me, is Milton Williams did not practice today for the Patriots after limited on Wednesday. Obviously, maybe they're taking him easy, or they're just kind of going into it and saying, hey, we don't want to overdo it this week with him. But yeah, they have a lot themselves as well. A lot of injuries there. Will Campbell even, he's full practice now, but he's been dealing with a shoulder injury. A lot of guys dealing with injuries for both teams, really. So for the Bills, though, yeah, we'll see about Spencer Brown. Oliver, I agree with you, Scott. I don't think, even some videos that you saw, it didn't really look like he was back fully. Milano, maybe, but I'm hoping they don't push him. That's the number one thing for me. Just don't push Milano. Let him get back when he's fully ready. And I'd be a little disappointed if Dorian Strong ends up not playing, just because he played well week one, and I kind of want to see how his growth throughout the season goes.
Yeah, I'm not overly concerned about any one person. I would also hold Ed Oliver out really till after the bye week at this point. No real reason to rush him back. Let the other guys have their run unless we're really short on numbers there. But I think he can elevate.
He didn't fall off a horse.
Did not get injured by a horse, right? So that's a plus. Hoping to see Matt Milano back. Hoping Jackson Hawes is good with his ankle injury. That's a new one this week that we didn't really know about. So hoping not too serious there. And I concur with your assessment there on Dorian Strong. Would love to see him suit up and be able to go. So yeah, that's about it for the injury report. Look, there's not a ton there. Like Scott said, that's really concerning, and that's a plus. So hopefully that continues, knock on wood, and we'll keep going in that. We know we're going to get people popping up here and there, missing games in and out of the lineup, but hopefully that their contribution or their role on the team is not too major. So please like and share this episode. If you're on Facebook, give it a share and a like. If you're on X, give it a repost and a like. Come on over to YouTube, get into the YouTube chat, and give our YouTube channel a subscribe there and click on the little bell to notify you when we go live. If you're on YouTube, please like and share as well. We're sponsored by Monster Energy, the official energy partner of Built in Buffalo, and 716 Barbershop, Broadway Road in Depew. Go ahead and book the cut with Dennis or Matt today on the Cut app. Getting into the little preview of the Patriots-Bills games now, defensive and offensive keys to the game. Scott, why don't you kick us off here with a little offensive preview?
Sure. So Patriots defense so far this season, they've been above league average at their use of man coverage. You have to imagine that would stick against a team like the Bills, who don't necessarily have receivers you're worried about killing that. They don't have a Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, so you just can't do that with. We have guys who can get open against man coverage, so Kincaid, Shakir, Elijah Moore, Curtis Samuel if he plays, but not necessarily the strengths of our offense. So Josh Allen historically plays really well against man coverage. Last year, he was the top-rated quarterback as far as EPA against man. I think he was like 10th or 11th in passing, but number one against man coverage and running, because whenever the defense back is turned to him, if he can break the pocket, he's gone, and he's going to be running for a while before you catch him. So how do you guys see Josh Allen's legs coming into this game, and what the Bills can do to kind of combat a higher man coverage rate? Ben, we'll start with you.
I'm muted, sorry. So with the man coverage, I mean, one, I want to see who can get separation. That's my number one concern, is because that's kind of been one thing that the Bills receivers, at least when you look at the analytics of everything, it hasn't been too great, especially for a guy like Josh Palmer, who's obviously people are very excited for. See if maybe Elijah Moore can get more involved this week as well. I know believe his snap percentage has been around 30% when he has every game, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe that goes up this week. So yeah, I'm interested to see kind of how the receivers separate, and especially a guy like Keenan Coleman again. Can he have another big game? So yeah, I'm kind of just interested to see that mostly, and then I think Josh's legs will come big in this game, just because when the lane opens and you have all the DBs either backs to you or they're spread out because they're playing man coverage, and he takes off and runs, there's a lane, he does not hesitate. So interested to see that. And then even though the run defense is pretty solid for the Patriots, I think that they'll end up having a tough task with James Cook in this offensive line. So I do think that they still will run the ball pretty well.
Right. Yeah, I think that the coverage is going to benefit Josh Allen. I don't know if they're going to want him to take off a ton, but they're going to want to win the game, and he's going to do that regardless. So I think that you're going to see over 50 yards rushing from Josh Allen this game. And I also think it'll be good for a couple of the receivers here. I think that we can really run the ball on this team, but I really hope to see a little bit more of the passing game too. And I want to see Kincaid continue to get open against the Patriots here this week. So, we'll see if they do stop the run early on, if the Bills can go to the pass game and or use Josh Allen's legs as their running game to have success.
Yeah, you mentioned using it as the running game. I think that's what also people miss with those screen passes that Brady loves to run, those quick passes. Those are basically just extensions of the run game. Those are just long handoffs. So a way to keep the defense honest, even though it's not necessarily just running the ball straight up the middle in a traditional way. But you mentioned the run game. The Pats' run defense has actually been pretty solid, third in the league so far. Like we mentioned earlier, the Bills' the Bills' rushing offense, number one in the league. So something's got to give there. Lance, what are your keys for the Bills to be able to run the ball effectively against a defense that's pretty stout against it?
Yeah, helping each other out if they run some duo blocks and things like that. If they can really get to the second level on those and seal some people off, that'll open up the running lanes for these guys. I think that the guards really inside. I think Osiris Torrance really has to have a better game this week, things like that. I think they can. If Spencer Brown comes back, that'll help because he'll just pave the way. He's really good in both the run and the pass so far this year. I think that you saw a little bit of a dip there in continuity on the right side last week, but I think we can really, if we get Spencer Brown back, get back to kind of one unit, moving effectively and pushing the defensive line back. And like I said, if we can get these guys to the second level and seal some guys off on the line of scrimmage, we'll be able to, which I guess is sort of like Captain Obvious, but it is, sort of what the guys need to do in all reality to have the success this week. And I think the interior of this offensive line has it in them. I think McGovern and Torrance definitely can pick up their games, and David Edwards has been pretty solid, but up and down here and there as well. So want to see those three guys definitely impact the game in a positive manner by opening up some lanes and things like that for James Cook to run the ball. And let's see if one of these other running backs actually gets a chance to assert themselves at all in the running game, or if they're going to stick with feeding James Cook.
Yeah, I already touched a little bit on the run defense or the run offense, and jumped the gun on that one a little bit. But yeah, I think that look. I mean, even the Patriots, I don't think they've exactly played, if I'm not mistaken, the greatest teams this year. So like, their run defense has been good, but last week I know they played the Panthers, and
The Panthers.
it was a banged up Chuba Hubbard who I don't even think finished the game, and it's again, they're not even that great of a team to begin with. You had the Steelers who
They kept the best running back in the world in Shaq in week 1, according to you.
hey, best go Genty, but that offensive line is terrible. So like, I mean, every team besides the Bears have shut down the Raiders' run game because again, might have the worst offensive line in NFL history. Different story. I'm not going to get into that right now. It obviously not the worst.
Not watched the Bengals.
Not the worst in history, but you know what I mean. They were pretty bad. They were good this past week though. But again, the Bears are the Bears.
The Bears.
Yeah, but yeah. So I know they haven't really played teams that are exactly the best at running. Again, I know Pittsburgh this past week, Kenneth Gainwell had a big game, but they've been a very up and down offense this year when it comes to just scoring in general. So I'm not going to say that they stopped the Steelers in their prolific run game, because the Steelers' run game has been anything but. So yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and think that the Patriots have exactly had the toughest toughest players to stop in the run game. This will be a big test for them, but they still do have some guys up front that can make a difference.
To put the shoe on the other hand, you can say the same thing about the teams the Bills have played and have run the ball against.
That's true. I mean, the Jets have a good D line, and they I would say. I mean, they definitely were causing havoc early in the game against the Bills. That first quarter and a half, they were putting David Edwards to
Josh in the face. That was their strategy. Take him out.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's a strength for both teams. I just think our strength is a better strength than the Patriots' strength. So the strength a lot of times there. But yeah, I do think the Patriots' run defense is good. I think any team that Vrabel coaches is going to be good against the run because he's a tough, physical football coach, and his teams generally play like that. Teams reflect their coaches, and Vrabel's an effort guy. And they always say good teams can run the ball, stop the run, and they're good on special teams. When I think of Vrabel teams, that's what I think of. But I think their Bills offensive line and James Cook and Josh Allen, and if they get Ty and Ray involved, is better than what the Patriots can do. I'm not sure the Bills will have the same running success they've had in their last few games, but I do think they'll be able to move the ball and attempt to control the game on the ground. So that's about all we got on the run game. I want to talk about some matchups.
Yeah, I think, just to finish that off is just the Josh Allen runs will help supplement the formal handoffs, that sort of the running game like we mentioned before. So I think overall, when you look at rushing yards, if that's how you want to quantify success in the running game, the rushing yards are going to be just fine about what they've been the past few games. So I don't think there's going to be a huge drop off in rushing numbers. I think that they may change hands on who is carrying the ball, but if they're not successful with the traditional handoffs, I think they can beat run the ball their ways, whether it be sweeps with some Elijah Moore, Curtis Samuel if he's active, and then also Allen taking off like we mentioned. So my matchup, not to steal your thunder there, but just to go for it, is Dalton Kincaid against some of these linebackers. Like I mentioned before, I'm hoping that Kincaid or whomever they put on Kincaid can find some space and get back into the 5+ receptions area this week and maybe get in the end zone as well, because he's been pretty successful at that over the past few weeks.
For matchups, are we doing both offense and defense matchups? Like,
I was thinking we do the defenses one on the defensive segment.
Yeah, offensive matchups here. Yep.
Okay, so I mean, offensive matchup, I'll probably go. I mean, Kincaid, I'm going to just go with the run game, I guess. I'm going to try to see how the offensive line goes against this defensive line. We just talked about it. And even though I kind of downplayed the Patriots' run defense the first 4 weeks against who they played, like I said, how I ended it, they still have guys up there that can make plays. They obviously bring in Milton Williams, who I said did not practice today. who knows if he plays, but if he does play, he's a big guy that could make some plays. So, yeah, I'll go with the offensive line versus their defensive line.
Yeah, for me, Harold Landry going up against both of the Bills tackles because they'll move him around. He's a stud. I loved him back at BC when he was in college. He was a 10, 12-a-year sack guy when he was with the Titans and came up to New England with Vrabel this past offseason. He's a really good defensive end, and he can ruin your day if you're not careful with him. So excited to see Brown and Dion, who the Bills like to leave one-on-one, the other team's best pass rushers. Excited to see that matchup. Harold Landry, I think that guy's a stud.
Yeah, maybe we'll just eat some bad food at the tailgate, and then we'll ruin our day that way. So we don't have to. Maybe that'll be the one thing that ruins our day. That way, the other thing doesn't. Landry, that is. But bad joke by me. Defensive preview.
3.4.
3.4
out of 10.
What?
Nope.
I give that joke a 3.4 out of 10.
Thank you. That's generous, even. All right. Shoot, man. Defense.
Yeah. The defense, it's going to be definitely different than last week with a better offense overall with the Patriots than the Saints. So if you weren't happy last week, hopefully they can make some plays against a better offense, and you can be a little bit happier this week with the defense. But the Patriots, as much as we always talk about the turnover battle, they have had some problems with fumbling and turnovers. May's only thrown 2 interceptions, but I believe he's had 1 or 2 fumbles. Stevenson's had 2 fumbles. Antonio Gibson's had a fumble. So they are a team offense that can shoot themselves in the foot. So we'll start with that. How important is it for this defense to get some turnovers and force May to make some uncomfortable throws or get out of the pocket and be scrambling? So, Scott, we'll start with you.
Yeah, it's huge. And this has been how the Bills defense has kind of made their money in the past season and a half. They give up yards, they try to hold team to field goals, and they force turnovers. We won the turnover battle, and it was 25 games in a row. They've continued. They've had an unbelievable streak there. So that's what the Bills defense does. They force turnovers. And if they don't, like we saw against the Ravens in week 1, that they're going to give up some points. But yeah, Ramondre Stevenson, I think his favorite thing in the world to do is fumble the football. He just does it so often. Drake May, yeah, he's thrown 2 picks. One of them was tipped, so not necessarily his fault, but he's still a young quarterback on the road against the best team in the division at night. Like he's probably going to give you a chance to get 1 or 2. So the Bills just have to take advantage of those when those opportunities come, and that's what's going to hopefully lead them to a victory in this game.
Yeah, I think it helps Matt Milano if he comes back in being able to force turnovers. So that'll up the ante for this defense in the turnover battle, but we'll see if the safety, if Cole Bishop can stay hot for a second game in a row, and where they go with that. I think that the defensive line has done a great job for the most part with trying to strip some of these guys, but we'll see also how Stevenson and Henderson run the ball if they find, hopefully they're not finding success or Antonio Gibson here against the Bills run D, and forcing the fumble may be the best way to stop the run for this team this week. So we'll hope to see a few of those for sure.
Yeah. Even last week, even though the streak ended up winning the turnover battle, you still tied it, right? You still got a very, very important turnover in that game from Cole Bishop. So, even if you, like Scott said, they'll give up some yards, but if you can get a turnover or 2 and our offense can take care of the football, that'll be huge. Just for a rivalry game, you never want to turn the ball over in general, but rivalry games just seems like momentum can really change. And if you can get the turnovers in Highmark Stadium and get the crowd going, especially early, then it's going to be tough for Drake May, who, even though he has been solid, it's going to be a little tough for him to maybe, as a younger quarterback, it's a lot when you're coming into a hostile environment. If you turn the ball over once, next thing you know, you're down 14, down 7 early, whatever it is. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be massive to get some turnovers. And I think early is the important part. If you can really just not even give them a slim a thought of hope throughout this game. So, yeah, turnovers going to be huge.
Look at the Bills-Pats game last year, week 16, when they beat them at home. It was a close game for the first half, and then they turned the ball over. We recovered it for a touchdown. And that was kind of the difference in it.
Yeah. So you gotta take advantage when they come, because you, like Scott also said, I believe you said this, Scott, is that you're gonna get a chance or two with May throwing. So can't drop them, can't have penalties. Just get the turnover. Tight ends on the Patriots. We talked about Kincaid, or Scott, or Lance talked about Kincaid for our offense, but the Patriots do have some solid tight ends over there. They have Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. Hunter Henry, who, in my opinion, I think is one of the most underrated tight ends in the league, just because he can be very reliable. He's found the end zone, I believe, 3 times this year, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 4, but I believe 3 times this season. He is somebody who can be, for Drake May when he's rolling, the guy that he goes back to time and time again. So, with the two tight ends of Hooper, Henry, how much of a concern is that if Milano plays? If Milano doesn't play, just in general, how much are you going to be focused on these 2 tight ends for the Bills defense? Lance, what do you think?
This is another, I think, strength on strength type of scenario where I think if Milano plays and Bernard's there and Teron Johnson's healthy, then, our strength of that second level will be there to cover their strength in the tight ends. So I believe, as Scott mentioned, for the Bills' run game strength being better than the Patriots' run defense strength, that the Bills have the greater of the strengths again. And that's what we mentioned earlier. The Bills are trying to win with. They are not trying to do anything too fancy, just trying to beat the other guys by simply being better and having the stronger strengths. So I invite the matchup. I'd like to see if they can try to push the ball to the tight ends. I think that would result in quite a bit of success for the Bills defense.
Yeah, I think people are going to see a lot of similarities in the Patriots offense to the Bills offense. They go a lot of 2 tight ends, 12 personnel. They like to establish the run that way. But both tight ends can also get out and catch the ball and make stuff happen down the field. So a lot of similarities there. And even similarities to Drake May and Josh Allen, their play style and kind of their overall characteristics. But yeah, that's a way that their offense can get rolling. They get those 2 tight ends out there. They can establish the run. They can play physical, and they can try to out physical you. That's something that has happened to the Bills in the past. Just we have a smaller defensive line. Milano, he's a beefcake, but Bernard, smaller linebacker. We go a lot of nickel coverage with Taron Johnson. So teams try, like the Ravens, try to out physical us. The Patriots don't do it that well, and that's not necessarily what they're trying to do, but it is something that can happen. So gonna have to just get physical back with them when they come out in that formation. We have to know that, hey, this doesn't necessarily mean that they're running the ball. Same way when the Bills come out with Jackson Hawes or 6-0 linemen, doesn't necessarily mean that they're running the ball. And talked about Hunter Henry. He has maybe my favorite college football play of all time against Ole Miss when he was in college. If you haven't seen it, go look it up, and you're welcome.
Yeah. I was actually talking with some guys when I was up in New Jersey about Hunter Henry, and I think it's unanimous around the league that he is one of the most underrated tight ends, and just a guy that not enough people, I think, talk about. And part of it has been the past few years, the Patriots offense has not been the place to be. So, but yeah, he's been great for them. We've talked a little bit about the tight ends. Them being weapons, not even just as in the passing game. Scott talked about in the run game with them. We talked about the run game with Stevenson, with Henderson, with even May's legs. So the last part about their offense, at least weapon-wise, is the receivers. So you got Diggs, Kayshon Boutte, Matt Collins. You haven't really seen too much of Demario Douglas. He's kind of been getting phased out, which is a little bit shocking. Kyle Williams. So with the receivers, are any of them really concerning you? Obviously, Diggs is returning to Buffalo. Last year, we obviously saw him in Houston, but he's returning for Buffalo. I know Josh Allen even spoke on like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't really weird or anything. That when it was Houston, it wasn't really too emotional. Maybe it'll be emotional for Bills fans, Diggs being here and Diggs coming back. So we'll see. But in general, any of these receivers catch your eye? Scott, we'll start with you.
Short answer, no. I mean, Diggs, that guy is still in there. He's coming off the ACL. He doesn't quite look like he's the same, but he's also, 32 now? So ACL or not, you're going to kind of start to slow him down. But he's a guy who can, run crisp routes. He can make corners look silly. Somebody that you do have to pay attention to no matter what kind of his situation is. Keyshawn Boutte, he had an awesome touchdown catch against the Bills last year on their first drive. Like half the stadium was still in the beer line, and the Patriots had already scored in about 2 minutes. So he's somebody who was a stud at LSU. Had some off-the-field issues that dropped him in the draft. Not the fastest guy, but again, runs good routes and catches the ball, makes contested catches. Then Matt Collins, we know exactly what you're going to get from him, and it will be a little bittersweet to see him come back. But as far as the other guys, no, not really. So I don't think their receiver room is like, oh my God, like we have to focus in on this stuff. But they all can make plays. You can't fall asleep in this.
For sure, I think they're going to make a play or two in this game. Overall, I don't think they're going to be the reason why Patriots have any sort of success, because I don't think the Patriots are going to overall have success. But definitely could see a play or two for Steph, and Boutte could definitely do some things, and we'll see what Hollins brings here against a former club of 1 year being here last year. I think that we could see a few plays here and there, but overall I don't expect anything too overly concerning. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not concerned.
Yeah, this receiving room for the Patriots reminds me a little bit of the Bills last year. Right, with minus a guy like Shakir, I guess, because you have an older receiver in Diggs. Last year we had Cooper. You have obviously Matt Collins is Matt Collins. That's the given. You have Kincaid last year, who obviously battled injuries, but you had a tight end that you, at least when throwing the ball, was maybe a little reliable. Obviously, we can talk about Josh Allen missing him last year, but Hunter Henry, who's been reliable. Last year we had Keon Coleman coming in. This year, it's kind of like the unprovenness still of Keyshawn Boutte and even guys like Kyle Williams, DeMar Douglas. So it's kind of like just a weird room. The difference is they don't have Josh Allen. Drake May, again, been looking good. He's been a guy that shows, hey, he maybe can be this franchise guy in New England, but he still is obviously not nowhere close to that step, even though this past week I think we've all seen some Patriots fans wanting to make that comparison. But yeah, it's kind of just a weird room where it's like, Diggs, the name-wise, is still a big name, but he's not the same player. He's coming back off an injury. Hunter Henry's we talked about when it comes to the tight ends, but receivers, yeah, it's like Boutte. How good really is he? Matt Collins is Matt Collins. Kyle Williams, DeMar Douglas, like what's going on with that? Like DeMar Douglas is the big one, but some people had high expectations for him this year, and he's kind of just been phased out of their offense. He has 5 receptions on 13 targets for 13 yards, and it's been really just a tough year for him. So nobody really stands out for the receivers to me either. And as Lamb said, as far as we're concerned, not concerned, right? That really has to end our talk for the defense, I guess. I guess we can do the matchup for the defense. So Lance, we'll start with you. Which matchup defensively are you looking forward to the most?
Yeah, I think that as far as defensively, I do want to see Steph Diggs against those outside corners wherever he lines up or in the slot. I am very curious to see how that all plays out with Diggs in the secondary. So that's one I'm going to keep my eye on.
We talked about it a little bit, so I won't get into too much depth. But this is the linebackers and the tight ends. We're going to see a lot of Hooper. We're going to see a lot of Henry. So how can the linebackers and throw Taron Johnson into there as well? And even the safeties. I'm sure Cole Bishop and Taylor Rapp will find themselves matched up with those guys from play to play. So how the tight ends go against kind of the whole middle of our defense. And Lance, Padres making a little not dead yet.
I know. Let's go.
For me, I'm gonna go with the defensive line versus their offensive line. Their offensive line by no means is amazing, but it's much improved. You obviously bring in Will Campbell, who has been very good for a rookie. Obviously, still has had his lumps, but has been very good. Looks like he can be that franchise left tackle there. So I'm going to want to see the defensive line, see what they can do against the offensive line. And if May has all day, then yeah, they might be able to pick them apart a little bit. But if you're getting pressure, then it could be a long day for May. And I'm just interested to see that matchup and the gap integrity. I believe actually, Paul said it here. Struggle with gap integrity. That's the one thing that I want to see it get better. I want to see the pressure with being able to keep your gap integrity. So, yeah, that's going to be my matchup here. And then I believe that's it for defensive talk. If we want to do to the very last few things we got here, because I know Scott's itching for this to go watch. I think the Red Sox are about to be starting.
Well, I think the Padres just loaded the bases. I'm calling them out, but he looks safe to me.
Got a lot of things about to start here, and I know a lot of people are probably going to go watch.
We're riding Padres live bet money line as they were down 2, so we're hoping for a little ripper there.
He's out.
Ah, darn. All right, so I'm going to start Shakir and Kincaid for the Bills here against the Patriots, and I'm going to sit Stephon Diggs in fantasy. Who you guys got? Benjamin?
Scott, you go first. I got 2. I don't know if you're going to take one of them if you are doing fantasy this week.
I'm going to start Matt Prater.
Start Matt Prater.
I think he's gonna hit some kicks. So I don't get to sit somebody.
Oh, well, yeah. Sorry, I forgot about sitting. It's on me.
Jeez. Start Matt Prater. Oh, is he off the bag? No, he's not. He's out. And I'm gonna sit the entire Red Sox lineup. Cam Schlittler is about to shove down their throats.
Not in Coeur d'Alene. It's going to be the over, hitting the over quick. No.
Yeah, that's what playoff baseball is known for. They're overs.
The over. For me, I'm going to start. I got 2 of them, I guess. I'm going to go Hunter Henry. As much as I hate to say it, I know, Lance, you like the matchup in this game better for the Bills. I still think Hunter Henry will get a lot of receptions and fantasy-wise.
Should be a volume target there, so that's not a bad pick.
Yeah, he'll get target volume.
Quarterbacks love tight ends.
I mean, he might have like 7 receptions for like 50 yards in fantasy as a tight end. That's pretty solid. So the only other start though is going to be the Bills' defense. We talked about turnovers. I think they'll force a few. I think they'll get after it. They might get only 1, 2, 3 sacks, not a lot of sacks, but they can force turnovers and could end up being a big game for them. My sit, I kind of struggle with the sitting one, so I'm going to just go with the Pats defense. Any defense that's playing the Bills offense probably going to want to sit. I'm just going to go with the Pats defense.
Amazing stuff. All right, game predictions. I'm going 38-24. The Bills are going to win. Who do you got?
Scott, you can go. I got to think one real quick.
Bills 27-20. Right around the spread. It's a trap line. It's a rat line. It's anywhere from 7.5 to 8.5. That's a rat line. It's slightly under. I think the under is at 49.
You don't think the Bills get to 30 this week? First game of the season, they don't score 30. With those uniforms on, come on.
Josh might get confused. He's not used to that.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with just because I'd love to see it happen, and it's not gonna happen anyways. 31-19, same score as last week. I don't know if that's ever actually happened with a team before. If they've ever had
3
the same
times
score.
in history.
I'm sure it's happened.
But you had that ready to go, Lance. Was that a real stat?
It's not
I'm completely making this up.
I was gonna say I thought you were gonna make. I'm
really good at impromptu, Ben, and I'm really good at bullshitting you.
So. I think 31-19. I think they'll at least hit 30. Patriots, how much they score, I don't know. Garbage time makes it so tough with how they score. They could be shut down all game. They could start off hot, kind of like the Saints, and get brought down. Like it's so tough. So I'm gonna go 31-19 just because I'd love to see it, and I will know by next show if anybody has done that in NFL history.
Speaking of weird scores, hey, scoreagami guy, post the Bills Ravens scoreagami.
Yo, something's going on with him, man. He still has not.
I think he's a Ravens fan.
Well, still hasn't posted that. Yesterday he had a game. He did the final of the Bears game on Sunday.
Yeah, because the Ravens lost. I think he's sad. I think he's a Ravens fan.
And it was like, yeah, but it was like the game was over, and he was
like, posted the 40-40 scoreagami tie the next day.
Yeah. I mean, hey, something's going on with him, man. I don't know if it's just that he's a Ravens fan, which I think it could be partly that, but it could also just be that something was going on. Either way.
All right, that'll do it, folks. Again, Triple Coverage Podcast, sponsored by Monster Energy, the official energy partner of Built-In Buffalo, and 71 Slicks Barbershop on Broadway Road in Depew, New York. Get on the Cut app to schedule your cut with Dennis and Matt over there at 71 Slicks. We appreciate everyone watching. If you haven't done so yet, please go over there, smash the like on YouTube, subscribe to that YouTube channel. We'd greatly appreciate your support on that channel as we continue to try to grow this platform for ourselves and the viewers. The better we grow, the better content we can bring you all. So would appreciate some love there, and have a great weekend. We'll be down at the Big Tree Inn. Shout out to the Big Tree Inn for hosting us every home game over there around the 97 Rock tailgate and Water Buffalo Club 716 and all the other great tailgates that are housed at the Big Tree Inn. There's a lot of them, and it's a great time. So get on over there, get some great Monster Energy. We'll have some swag to give away, and yeah, maybe we'll get some live videos of some score predictions and things like that. It'll be a great time. So we'll see you all there on Sunday who are going, and go Bills.
Go Bills and Red Sox.
Go Bills.